So for this video, we're going to look at the distal portion of the pectoral girdle, the forearm and the hand. The forearm has two bones. The bone, remember now this is always in anatomical position. The bone that is medial is called the ulna, and the bone that is lateral is called the radius. The radius lines up with the pollex on the hand, and the ulna lines up with the flange number 5. So that we're going to focus first on the ulna. The ulna has this large U-shaped structure right here. That U-shaped structure in the posterior part of it is the olecranon. The olecranon process is really what I call it very similarly. There's a structure right here called the coronoid process. And then there's a surface right here, and I'm going to show you before we end this video right here. This is a point of articulation with the radius, and so this is called the radial notch. Going distally on the arm here, this part most distal is called the styloid process. There are two styloid processes on the arm. One is on the ulna and one is on the radius. In addition, there's also a styloid process in the skull on the temporal bone. So you have to be specific in which styloid process that you're referring to. For the radius, we have structure. If you notice here, this is the proximal surface right here. This is a rounded surface. So the R in the radius is round, and the radius allows the forearm to rotate around the axis of the ulna. That's the head of the radius with the neck of the radius, and this area right here is called the radial tuberosity. If you go distal to that, there's two structures that are distal. This surface right here, this rounded surface, is this ulnar notch, this right here, and the ulnar notch is on the radius. And this distal structure right here is called the styloid process of the radius. So the styloid process of the radius, the styloid process of the ulna, and then there are two articulations in the forearm. There's this articulation, which is the proximal radial ulnar joint, and then the distal radial ulnar joint. Now we're going to go to the hand, and we're going to sort of span out a little bit. We have, generally speaking, there's these proximal bones on the hand, also known as the wrist. These are the carpal bones, and there are 8 carpals. Then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 metacarpals, and they are numbered with Roman numerals. So it's Roman numeral number 1, then 2, 3, 4, and V or 5. This metacarpal number 1 lines up with the pollex, or this pollex. This bone right here is also called the thumb, and that is lateral. So this is phalange that is called the proximal phalange, and that's the distal phalange. So this lines up with metacarpal number 1. Then there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you look at, for instance, number 3, there's the proximal, middle, and distal phalange on metacarpal number 3.